level. I'm not talking about politics at all. Because to deal with politics, I'm sure Al Jazeera's there, BBC there, Sky there, they can deal with that. I'm just trying to find out people in the level and how do they react to each other, how do they talk to each other every day.
Yeah.
Do you have any experience on that or examples?
Yes. Well, I mean, I did get to go to some of the places in Israel and meet Israelis in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. But I think the most interesting conversations that I had, if I'm honest with you, are with Israeli soldiers. And they were often very young people because in Israel they have to go into the army. It's required when they're 18 years old. So most of the soldiers are actually very young. And I remember a number of times having a conversation where I would go into the village and there would be soldiers who were coming in and they would see me and see like a Western person in the village, like, what are you doing here? Why are you here? And they would often say to me, it's not, you shouldn't be here. It's not safe to be here. And I said, actually, I feel fine. I mean, it's not safe for you because you have a gun and you're here, as part of an army. But actually, there a lot of Israelis very often before the Intifada started would come in to Jenin and get their cars fixed and shop in the markets and had a lot of very good interaction. But as soon as the violence started at that time, then everyone was completely separated. So I knew more about Palestinians than most Israelis did because they had no opportunity to go and meet them. So the only thing they heard about them was on what they see on TV. But so even though they were living next door, they had no chance to actually meet them. I'm talking about young people now, because they would have grown up, and then by the time they were old enough to travel, they wouldn't have had the chance to actually go and go into the West Bank, except in a very difficult situation. Yeah.
Is Palestinian, are they educated, the kids? Because it's been happening for a long time. I don't know how the education is. Because you're the person been there firsthand. You've seen it, you've done it. Are they educated, the kids? How do they go to schools? Or do they have enough food? Or do they have enough shopping? Do you have...
Yeah. Well, I don't want to make it seem like that even though I had a very good experience
because things we get out, like even from the Muslim side, I'm sure they will show it. It's happening a lot. Maybe it's not the case, from the both sides, because it's media. So if you
I mean, I don't want to make it seem, even though I had a very good experience there, partly the good thing about it for me was that I was there as a visitor and I could leave when I wanted to. But for young people growing up in the Palestinian territories, it's very difficult because they have a difficult time accessing education. So even if they have schools, maybe because the roads will be closed or there will be a military action in their area, so it'll be difficult for them to get a consistent education. So education is a really high value in Palestine. I think compared to the other countries in the Arab world, it's has one of the highest educational levels, but the access to education is very difficult because a lot of people have a difficult time going to school consistently. Or I remember in my course that I was teaching, one of my English classes, we had some of the students who were coming from the city couldn't get into the university. It was just outside of the city. We had one semester where a whole 1/3 of the classes they weren't able to attend because of military action in their area. They weren't allowed to travel. So that means they missed 1/3 of their classes. So because of this, it affects education a lot. But I think the desire for education, and also I think people see education as being a part of being a Palestinian, a part of a type of nonviolent resistance, to go and to be educated and to be a person to work for the good of your country. So there was a really strong value. The students there really loved the education and it was exciting to be in the classroom. You may think, if you're in a class here or where I'm from, and even in Lebanon was the same. The students were sort of bored, like, why are we here? We have to kick another English class. But the students there, they were so hungry to learn because they knew how important education was for them to advance in society and also to make a difference in the world.